She stood still. Cold wind blew through her coat. Her hands were in her pockets. Her stomach was empty, but she didn't beg. This was Amina, a mother, a widow, a woman who had nothing except her pride. Beside her stood her son, thin, shivering, coughing. She looked at the bread inside the bakery window. Warm, fresh bread. It smelled like comfort, like home. But she couldn't afford even a piece. She didn't ask for help. She just watched. For 3 days, she came. Every morning, just looking, hoping. But today, the bakery owner had had enough. "Go on, lady. This ain't no shelter," he shouted. She nodded. "I understand. I wasn't begging, just looking." Her son coughed again. She held his hand, gently turned away. No anger, no tears, just quiet. Across the street, someone was watching. A man, sitting in a big black SUV. His name was Ethan Braverman, a billionaire, rich in money, but broken in heart. He had seen her day after day. She never asked, never begged. That's what caught his eye. She was proud, even in pain. He rolled down the window. The cold air hit his face. The scent of cinnamon from the bakery drifted in. He watched her and her boy walk away. Slowly, quietly. He didn't know her name, but something inside him whispered, "Don't let her go." Ethan Braverman sat alone in his black SUV. The heater was on, but he still felt cold inside. The kind of cold that comes from the heart, not the weather. He had everything: a mansion, a business empire, a name that made people stand. But none of it mattered, not since his son died. Since then, Ethan stopped feeling alive. He worked, he ate, he slept, but he didn't live. Then he saw her 3 days ago, standing in front of a bakery. She didn't ask for help. She didn't even look around, just stared at the bread like it was a dream she couldn't touch. He didn't know why he came back the next day or the next. Maybe something about her felt familiar. Maybe the pain in her eyes looked like the pain in his own. Today, he watched again. The bakery owner shouted. She didn't argue. She just walked away, holding her son's hand. Ethan opened the glove box and took out a small photo. It was old, worn at the edges. His son, smiling, alive. A sharp pain stabbed his chest. He missed that smile every day. He looked up again. The woman and her child were gone. He quickly opened his door and stepped out. The wind slapped his face, sharp, icy. He looked down the road. Nothing. He didn't even know her name. Back in the car, he leaned back in his seat and closed his eyes, but her face stayed with him. Her quiet pain, her pride, her strength. He picked up his phone, called his assistant. "Find out who she is," he said softly. "Who, sir?" "The woman at the bakery, with the little boy. I want to know everything." There was silence on the line. "Yes, sir. I'll find her." Ethan hung up. He didn't know what he would do next. He just knew he had to do something. Something told him this woman was meant to cross his path. It happened by accident, or maybe it was meant to happen. Amina was helping her old neighbor, Mama Didi, carry 2 bags of groceries. One bag had torn at the bottom, and oranges were rolling across the street. Amina bent quickly to pick them up. Her son held onto her leg, watching. That's when Ethan saw her again. He was in the back seat of another car this time, not the SUV. He was headed to a meeting, but asked the driver to stop. "There she is," he whispered. "Stop the car." He stepped out, slowly, unsure what he would say. Amina looked up. She saw him walking toward her, well-dressed, neat, calm. She recognized him. He had been watching her at the bakery. She straightened up. "Good morning, sir," she said politely. He nodded. "Good morning." He looked at her arms full of groceries. "Need help?" She shook her head. "No, thank you. We're used to it." There was a pause. Quiet. He looked at the boy hiding behind her leg. "Your son?" She nodded. "Yes. That's Samuel." Ethan knelt slowly. "Hi, Samuel," he said softly. The boy peeked out but didn't speak. Ethan stood back up. "You were at the bakery a few times." Amina looked down, embarrassed. "Yes, we weren't trying to cause trouble." "You weren't," he said quickly. "You were just looking." Another pause. Then she smiled, just a little. "That's all we could afford. Looking." Ethan felt a sting in his chest, a sharp one. He didn't know what to say. "Would you like to get some lunch?" he asked. She hesitated. "I don't take money from strangers." "No money, just food, my treat, for Samuel." Amina looked at her son, then back at the stranger. "All right," she said, "but only if we all eat together." He smiled. "Of course." They walked together to a nearby diner. Simple place, nothing fancy, but warm, friendly. They sat at a small corner table. Samuel played with a spoon while Ethan and Amina talked. He asked simple questions: where she was from, she did. She told him about the night shifts, the cleaning job, the tutoring on weekends. She didn't complain. She didn't ask for anything. She only shared her story when asked. Ethan listened, and for the first time in years, he felt present, like his heart had woken up. She was brave, quietly strong, full of pride, but not hard. When the food came, Samuel smiled. "Thank you," the boy whispered. Ethan smiled back. "You're welcome." After lunch, Ethan walked Amina and Samuel back to their small apartment. The streets looked the same. Cracked sidewalks, faded walls, a place that felt heavy with worry. But today, something felt different. Amina's heart was heavy but lighter. She had never expected kindness like this. She thought she had to face the world alone. But Ethan's offer gave her hope. At the door, Ethan looked at her and said softly, "I want to help, not just today, but for as long as you'll let me." Amina felt a tear escape. She swallowed hard. "I don't know if I can trust that," she said. Ethan nodded. "I understand. Trust takes time. I'm here when you're ready." She opened the door. Samuel ran inside, laughing for the first time in days. Amina watched them and smiled, small but real. Ethan turned to leave but paused. "One step at a time," he said. "We'll walk it together." Amina felt the weight of the world, but for the first time, she didn't feel so alone. Days passed and Ethan kept his promise. He didn't rush. He didn't pressure Amina. Instead, he showed up quietly, helping in small ways. He fixed the broken heater in their apartment, bought warm clothes for Samuel, helped with school supplies. Every little thing made Amina's heart lighter. At first she was unsure. Could she really trust this stranger? Was it too good to be true? One cold evening, Ethan brought a small cake. "For Samuel," he said with a soft smile. Samuel's eyes sparkled. He hugged the cake tight. Amina watched them. She felt a warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. Slowly, trust began to grow like a tiny flower breaking through the cracks. She started to believe maybe, just maybe, things could get better. Even as trust grew between Amina and Ethan, the shadows of the past stayed close. The past was like a heavy cloud hanging over Amina's heart. It made her tired and scared. Every night, when the city grew quiet, memories came rushing back. She remembered the day her husband died, the cold hospital room, the silence that followed, how she felt all alone with a little boy to care for. Some days the fear was so strong it made her want to hide. She worried that if she let herself hope, something bad would happen again. She was afraid to lose what little she had left. One evening after a long day, Ethan came to visit. The sky outside was gray, and the wind blew softly through the trees. They sat together in the small living room. The heater hummed quietly. Amina's hands trembled as she looked at Ethan. Her voice was barely a whisper. "I'm scared," she said. "Scared that one day I'll lose everything again. I don't know if I can be strong." Ethan looked at her with kind eyes. He could see the pain deep inside her. He reached out and took her hand gently. "You don't have to be strong alone anymore," he said softly. "I'm here. I want to help you carry the weight." For a moment, Amina just stared at his hand holding hers. It was a small touch, but it felt like a light in the dark. "I want to believe that," she said quietly, "but it's hard to let go of the fear. It feels like it's a part of me now." Ethan nodded. "I know. Healing takes time, but every day we will take one step, and with each step, the shadows get smaller." Amina took a deep breath and looked out the window. The rain had stopped, and the sky was beginning to clear. A few stars twinkled faintly. "I want to try," she said, her voice stronger now. "For Samuel. For me." Ethan smiled gently. "That's all I ask." In the weeks that followed, Amina shared more of her story. She told Ethan about the nights when she cried quietly after Samuel was asleep, about the days when she felt hopeless. Ethan listened without judgment. He never rushed her or pushed her to talk more than she wanted. He simply showed up, ready to help and to listen. Slowly, the fear began to lose its power. Amina started to dream again. Small dreams at first, like a new coat for Samuel, a safe place to live, a life where smiles came more often than tears. Together, they faced the past's shadow. Together, they built a little light, a light that grew stronger with every kind word, every small act of courage. One afternoon, as the sun shone warmly through the window, Amina looked at Ethan and smiled. "I think I'm ready to take the next step," she said. Ethan nodded. "And I'll be right here every step of the way." For the first time in a long time, Amina felt hope fill her heart. The shadows were still there, but they no longer controlled her. She was ready to move forward. After opening her heart a little more, Amina began to accept help from Ethan. He didn't rush or demand anything. He simply showed up with kindness. One morning, Ethan surprised her with groceries. Fresh fruits, vegetables, bread. Things she hadn't been able to buy for a long time. Samuel's eyes grew wide as he looked at the colorful food. "Thank you," Amina said quietly, touched but a little shy. Ethan smiled. It's just the beginning. We'll take things step by step. Over the next few days, Ethan helped fix the leaking roof and brought warm blankets for the cold nights. Little by little, the apartment felt less like a place to survive and more like a home. Amina started to believe that maybe she could dream bigger, not just for herself, but for Samuel too. One afternoon, Ethan brought a letter from a school that wanted to help Samuel with his education. Amina felt tears rise. This was more than she had hoped for. She looked at Ethan with gratitude. You've done so much already. Thank you. Ethan shook his head. We're in this together. You're not alone anymore. Amina smiled, feeling a new kind of strength growing inside her. For the first time in a long time, she felt hope. Not just a small flicker, but a steady flame. The days grew brighter. With Ethan's help, Amina found small joys in life again. Samuel's laughter filled their apartment more often, chasing away the silence that once hung heavy. School was now part of Samuel's routine. He loved learning and making new friends. Amina watched him with pride. She saw hope shining in his eyes, a hope she thought was lost forever. Ethan continued to stand by their side, but he never pushed. He let Amina find her own strength, offering support without judgment. One morning, they sat together at the kitchen table, sharing coffee and plans for the future. Amina felt a warmth in her chest she hadn't felt in years, a quiet confidence that maybe, just maybe, life could be good again. Samuel smiled, chewing his breakfast happily. Amina looked at Ethan, feeling grateful beyond words. Thank you, she said softly. Ethan smiled back. This is just the beginning. Together they stepped into a new chapter, one filled with promise, hope, and the chance to dream again. Time passed, and Amina's life slowly began to change. She wasn't alone anymore. Ethan's kindness had become a steady presence, a light that chased away the darkness. One evening, Ethan and Amina sat on the small apartment's worn-out couch. Samuel played quietly nearby. Ethan took Amina's hand gently. I promise, he said, I will be here. Not just today, but for all the tomorrows. Amina looked at him, feeling the weight of those words. She knew life would still have challenges, but now she had someone to face them with. Her heart swelled with hope and courage. Thank you, she whispered, for believing in me, in us. Samuel ran over and hugged them both. In that moment, the future didn't seem so scary. Together they looked forward to a new day, a day full of promise, love, and healing.